This didn't work. It's been so long. We are dusting the dust off everything. No, I don't want to update it. I would love to, but it's too late now. So we're going to try to grab chat here. Oh, what's up? We're going to get going here in a minute. That part of it's working. I don't see a green light from YouTube. Ooh, YouTube worked. That means we should be able to hear everybody, which is always appreciated. YouTube connected. What's up? All right, I can hear people. So I guess that means I should get started. All right, we got an F150. We're going to be doing everything with the windshield. I spent an unusual amount of time trying to get this mirror off. It's not coming off, so we'll spice around it, which isn't ideal, but it's fine. Oh, my second monitor. Can I do that real quick? Can I put you, see how that, you guys should be over there too. Maybe I can just do like a full screen thing. No, we're gonna go. All right, Mac, how do we do this? Displays. And then we're gonna go to displays. Extend, we're going to mirror. Don't break. Okay. Okay. Everything's broken. Just kidding. It does work. Whew. That's good. Yo. I'm thinking about buying one of those F150s. Go for it. All right. I'm going to start with tinting the windows. Actually, we got to roll this down. We got a cover here, but we want to tape off the seals too. Step one, roll this down. Grab some tape. Tear off some pieces. Hang them there. Put that somewhere where we're going to forget. We don't got to block off all of it, but we got to block off some of it. And then we're just going to cover the felt. Slap that in there, wrap it around to this side, and that's going to hold some dirt out of the sides. Been really liking your channel. Really nice setup. Thank you. I like it too. Let's wipe this off. We're going to start with this door right here. We'll just kind of work our way around. So we could do this a couple ways. The smarter way is with a short roll. It's an F150, so you have this funny curve right here, which makes your window a little bit taller. So luckily we have a short roll here. And we're gonna use part of the roll, part of the flat edge of the roll to make our first cut. So let's just cut off this piece right here. It's been sitting for a while in a box. It's been bobbling around probably. I haven't tinted at all for a few years, but you got me to give it a try again this fall. I did all 6 windows on my 4-star. Nice, very nice. With just the corner triangle. outside in the driveway. Never as fun doing it outside in the driveway. All right, perfect. So we're gonna cut off a piece of film here, and we'll double cut together. Where did you buy the adhesive? What adhesive? We're using soapy water. This is an older one. Most of them have the easy to take off mirrors now. This does not. So we're gonna mirror our patterns, which means tint is facing outwards on the top layer, tint is facing towards the glass on the underside. And we're gonna cut out the exact same pattern, but they're gonna be mirrored. So it'll save us some cutting time. We're gonna start with fixing these together. Let's trim this off. Put this over here. Grab our knife. Make sure it's nice and sharp. And then we're gonna do just the first little click there. See that? That's what we're gonna start with. Push our film in, find where that side is, poke, and then make a cut most of the way down. I'll stop a little bit short just so I don't wedge the film, like crinkle it up. And then we're gonna shift it over. So you got plenty of space on the inside of here. So you can always drag F150s over a little bit farther. 1/4 inch sometimes is just a little shy, so you can drag it over. But then we're gonna refix this down, and we got a couple cuts to make. We gotta make this cut, so this is flat, and then we're just gonna make this cut, and it's gonna go right there. Now I'm right-handed, so this is always gonna be a little more awkward for me going in this direction with my left hand. It's easier for me to start over here and meet it there, but you can use this starting point as a little bit of a relief here. So right like that. See how that tears away, and then it basically just relaxes as you cut it, and then you get that like perfect seam cut right there. That was super awkward for me to do though. I'm just not used to doing anything left-handed. And then we're gonna make this cut up here. If I ever wanna feel like what it's like to have never cut a window before, just use my left hand. Then we're gonna slide this back over, and we can slide this down. So we have this nice little overlap on the sides and the bottom, and we're gonna just tack that in place. And then I'm gonna just make sure this is where I need it to go. And check where the inside edge. So it's down, but it's not super far down. What do you use to snap off the razor blade ends? So on your knife, this is the red dot knife, you have this snapper right at the bottom. This just pulls out, and then you line up that. Sorry, let's push this up with one of those, and then you just snap it away. Okay, let's make sure this is fixed in place. We're gonna roll this down. We're gonna use this knife for the top. And then let's make this cut. So do about 3 or 4 clicks of the blade out, and we're pressing that plastic there up against the top, and that's holding the tint against the top edge as we make that cut. Ah, shit. I could have quit while I was ahead. What I get for trying to just knock it down a little bit farther. I'm going to redo that cut. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to snap off this end a little bit. We're going to remake that cut. I'm short. I was holding the camera closer in one, and so it got a little squirrely towards the end. That's better. Now that's nice. I'm an idiot. I've never pulled that off the end. I'm always surprised by the amount of people that don't know that. It's just something that you end up taking for granted because I wasn't even really thinking about it when somebody showed me first, and then I forget to mention that. It's just like, oh. But yeah. Snappers at the bottom. Very handy. Really annoying to try and snap your blade. There was somebody that did it legitimately at the class. He would do it with his hand. That was wild. That scared me. Yeah, so we're gonna round some corners. Just straighten out those side ends. And then follow that along the top. And then round this off. Does that go straight? Yes. Yes, it does. Learning something new every day. That's right. Okay, so we got two patterns, and we're going to separate these. So the other one still needs to be prepped, though. So I'm going to leave these here for a minute. I'm going to go to the other side with a tape roll and a towel and clean that off. Roll that down. Shrink wrapping boats. 20 to 30 per foot in my area. Nice. That's pretty cool. We had somebody that attended the class that I think was shrink wrapping boats. When he used the heat gun, he looked like he knew what he was doing. All right. I'm going to put some pieces here. How would you compare Geo to brands like, oh, that's why. See, this is blocking my seal. We don't want to do that. We want to sneak this inside the seal so the window can still roll up. How would you compare Geo to other brands like Stick and Expel? They're easily going to match, if not better. Stick Deck's making a little name for themselves. Expel's just a better branding company. They all have good films. I'm way less familiar with Stack than I am with Expel. But there's always a few company reasons why you would want to use one film versus the other, and that's totally up to you. There's quite a few people here that just aren't going to be qualified for Expel. There's bigger buy-in, there's more expectations, but that goes both ways. All right, let's separate these. Now that that one's prepped, we can just take this pattern and we're going to take it over to the other side. So we got to shrink these next. I got Expel in 2024. I've been more than happy. Nice. There are imperfections in the roll. Which ones? Any company can have that, but yeah, super annoying. Any good company that you buy from that has issues with the roll, they'll take care of the roll. What's the tape for? So the tape here is just an extra precaution. These are felt seals. And so dirt can wash into your work pretty easily from the sides. So I'll tape those as a way to try and keep that felt out of my work. Okay, so what I just did on that is snap shrinking, but we have this little curve here. F150s really aren't very curved, but I'll do it in a couple sections. I'll just snap that section a little bit. I'll pick this up and I'll do the same thing over here. Little heat. There you go. Oh, imperfections were from old brand that I used 3 or 4 years ago. It's hard to lay and hard to cut. Yeah, for as similar as a lot of films will look, films can range wildly in just quality, thickness, material, shrinkability. Most recognizable brands. So if you hang out like in our forum group, you're gonna see people talking about certain brands a lot. A lot of those brands all have like very similar feeling films, qualities. And you just gotta try a couple and figure out which company, which branding you like the best. They're all gonna have quirky differences. But they're not all gonna be identical. They're all just gonna be fairly similar. All right, so next. We're just gonna scrape this window. It's got some years on it. Just wanna make sure that it's nice and clean. And then we're gonna wipe off this top edge. Heard that Geo has great customer service. Yeah, they do. They're a very easy film company to get started with, and they have awesome films that'll carry you through your business growing. What it honestly comes down to from like major company to major company is just branding. Branding, customer service, warranty program, availability, shade ranges, shipping times. Those can all vary a little bit. The film still will be a little different from one brand to the next. So I suggest like you pick a couple that you like and then just try them out. And the longer you're doing this, the more stuff you try, the more you'll be able to evaluate it. But if you're going from not using something to geo, you're already jumping up to a film brand where you're not missing anything. But if you've used something much cheaper, then that's where you really notice a difference from one film to another, like jumping up just in quality. All right, let's tuck this in the side. Let's get this nice and close. Start with locking in that top edge. Just get it nice and close as we can without going over. So that's where, take a minute, just push real lightly on it, run my finger over the top. If I flick this and it peels back, like I should be able to see it as well, but that's too far. I can smell the tint slip. Isn't it nice? I mean, like this always happens with like any soap you use. I don't really smell it anymore. It's got such a pleasant smell though. Nothing we added, that's just how it is. It's so nice. When I jump back in, I got 3 to 4 different styles of tools, got a few XPEL cutoffs, got a small roll of 3M, a few other sample rolls from some reps. Nice. Do you ever have to look above your glasses? Honestly, my glasses help more than not. But if you get like slip and stuff on them, then I'll just have to take a minute and just clean them off. It was a weird thing to get used to because I used to not tint with glasses. And then I didn't want to tint with glasses because I would get slip solution, but I've come to like, I don't really get much spray in my eyes. It hits my lenses instead. Do you do like 65%? I've got 50 and then 70. I don't have a 65. Your eyes are bad up close. Mine are good up close, bad far away. No, mine are bad far away. They're better close up, but I find I don't have to like move my glasses out of the way to see up close. I can still use just the one pair of glasses. They're not bifocals either. What tool do you use to shave a top edge? If anything, a file. I don't do it most of the time. I had to paint. I'm blind either way. I had to paint cars with a full mask and glasses. Oh yeah, for sure. You don't want to inhale that. Need a shink. Oh, my pretty drawers. Appreciate you giving us free game. Yeah, for sure. How can I speed up my tinting process? It's taking me about 4 hours to tint a car. With a windshield or without a windshield? Because with a windshield, that's really not bad. You just gotta force yourself to not be a stickler about quality control. And that'll come with some issues. But you'll find, like, if you kind of start skipping some steps, you'll realize you actually don't need all the steps. There's things that I'll do, like the tape on the sides. If you're doing that on every car, it's wasting some time. You don't necessarily need it, but it definitely helps. Door panel covers, if you just don't cover panels, it'll save some time. If you double cut, that'll save some time. And you're just like, speed up your cleaning process. You'll find you'll do things because you feel like you have to. And then if you actually just like kind of skip some of that, you'll still get a pretty damn good result. If not in the same in some cases. And it'll be like, oh, why was I doing all that extra stuff? I got faster under pressure though. And because I'm not under that same pressure, it slowed back down. But I was working for other companies, and if you took 2 hours on a car, there's already another car on the board that needs to get done. So you just find like, shit, they're not gonna stop putting cars on the board, so I just have to speed up. And we'd get into arguments and everything, but some of it was good and some of it was bad. Yep. Like covering door panels most of the time, it just makes sense to wipe them off. Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't cover door panels like ever. It wasn't a thing really. Cars are fairly water resistant. But when you're taking that kind of stuff and putting it online, you get a bunch of criticism for it. So that's one thing. It's like you can't explain it. If somebody sees something and they just get like a bad feeling from seeing it, you have to explain it. It's easier to just adjust your process. Like this would be totally fine if you just don't cover the door. But if you take the time to do some of that stuff, people do appreciate that because you're going above, and it's not just about trying to save as many minutes as you can. If you can't be professional, at least look professional. It's so good. Is it hard to become an expelled dealer? I just got started. Expel is what I'm looking at, but it seems like they only want to work with established shop. Yeah, because they do. It's not necessarily hard. You just gotta meet certain expectations, and some of those are like they are going after big accounts. So they're not looking to just sell a couple $1,000s a year to you in film. They want to sell somebody in your area $100,000 worth of film. That's how they make their stock price go up. That's how they grow as a company. So they're just not going to be for everybody. If you've been tinting and you have a semi-successful shop, then there's if there's no dealers in your area, then yeah. But they want uniformity. They basically want everybody to act like a franchise. which is good and bad for some shops. Like they have really, really good branding. They have a lot of awareness. You're interested in looking at them, so. I'm at a Toyota dealership. Alex Bell likes us because we buy bulk and they trust income warranty. If we were small time, I'm not sure Expel would be as nice to us. Yep. The people that spend the money are worth the time. Got my first windshield and back window tomorrow. I'm kind of nervous. I need tips. I don't know. What kind of vehicle? I got lots of videos with lots of tips. Have you ever done one before? Use Lumar, they've been great. Yeah, there's definitely good things about Lumar. I haven't used them in a very long time. I've done a lot of side doors. This is my first back and front. Well, like, have you done your own? That's what I hope. Or is it your first paid one? First paid. Oh, nice. That's cool. What is it? BMW 3 Series. BMW 3 Series is pretty straightforward. The brake light will, if it's got a brake light, well, they all have brake lights. If it's got one on the glass, which they typically do, it's going to be on the top. There's going to be a little housing that you can pop off, and then there's going to be tabs on the inside. Look up a video, but the tabs always go out, and then the whole thing will drop down. So you don't have to try and tin around the third brake light on that. Definitely remove it. And then the windshield, mirrors, just leave that alone. Work around it. They aren't super complicated, but take the time, cover the dash, use a rope. Don't get in your head too much about it. Because when you get all frazzled, you start doing funny things and making really bad mistakes. Practiced a lot on family members' vehicles until I got comfortable. Yeah, that's awesome. That's how you do it. I'm trying to start my own tint business out of my garage from all your videos. I did an S3 and a Model 3. Dang. Nice. That was awesome. I put a little bit more than 3 ounces in my spray tank. So my film's a little slidey. Which is better than being sticky. Way better than being sticky. I'm just making sure it's gonna get stuck first. And then we'll roll it up. Post more content, we miss you. Aw, I appreciate it. Had to ditch bounce after trying to shrink GeoShield for the first time. Snuggles made a world of difference. That's cool. See, every film's a little bit different. And it's annoying that that's the case. But it's like, even in the way that one film can stick to a particular dryer sheet better than another film. That can absolutely happen. But the longer you've been doing it, the less of an issue it really is. But when people make really generic recommendations, it's like, no, just be a little bit more specific. Because it gets annoying. In my Facebook group, I see a lot of people are, just use dryer sheets. And it's like, yeah, there's like a million. They're not made for this. I do vinyl wraps, and tinting has always been a service I wanted to offer. It just seems so satisfying when it goes right. If you do vinyl, it's definitely a service that you can offer. We had quite a few vinyl installers come to our classes. You have to kind of change the way that you think, though. Some people, like we had one guy that was, man, he was a beast. He had never touched tint before, but after he saw like a demo and some very mild instruction, he just things just clicked with him really, really fast. But you have to change the way you think of it a little bit, because with vinyl, it's all stretching and then heating to get it. With tint, it's very rigid. It's like tape. And it doesn't stretch at all. It's very unforgiving. All right. These are the front doors. Cut out some back doors. Started advertising a lot, getting people interested, but they don't want to pay over $120. Where are you advertising? Where and how are two big questions. Wipe this off. Go to the other side, wipe the other one off. What is carbon tint? That's this stuff right here. So window film can be made with a few different materials in it. So it's plastic, but they put different materials in it. And with those, you get different performance. So the cheapest is going to be dyed. So it's just plastic film with dye, and it'll look good, but it'll let a lot of heat pass through. You can replace the dye with carbon, and carbon naturally blocks heat. So for carbon films, the darker that they are, the more heat that they're going to block. And then there's a material called ceramic, and ceramic can be very light. It doesn't matter the shade. It'll all block a lot of heat, more than the carbon will. So you can do really light films and get a lot of performance out of it. So carbon is what I would say is our best value, especially if you're going darker on your vehicle. Save a little money and still get some really good heat performance. Facebook and Instagram, just posting? Or are they paid ads? Facebook and Instagram is like billboards. And every window tint shop is making posts. It's just one of those things where trying to get good business just off of posting is just like so overdone at this point. So you're just not going to get very good leads. Facebook, they can be a little bit more targeted when they're paid, but they're still very billboard type. Google ads are going to be your best performers. Facebook can still be good. It's just it's really tough to get your creative right. Word of mouth. Yep. Word of mouth is great. It's just not everybody has that. Was thinking about going door to door. I mean, anything can work. Networking with automotive companies might be a little bit better in the beginning to try, because they already have clients, and not every one of those places has a tinter, but they might have people, their customers are already looking for tint. If you're gonna go door to door, selling flat glass would probably be a better bet. Detail shops, yep, that's decent. Auto glass companies are a good one, especially in nicer areas. I'm a mobile tinter, so I just use posting, not really advertisements, trying to make it a full-time job. Yeah, so if you have a skill, walk into some of the existing companies that are already looking for, or that already have like client bases and don't have anybody. It's a really quick way to pay bills, make good money. You're not really growing your own brand. That's the way I did it for a very long time. I was mobile, going from shop to shop. So we would, like for instance, there's one of my favorite accounts. They were over in Shelby, not too far from here. Nicer area, well-run shop. They would charge probably on average like $300 for a car though, but compared to like some of the other accounts, it was pretty damn decent. but they weren't a tint shop, so they weren't trying to sell like the whole tiered package. They weren't making a lot of money on it, so they didn't put much focus into that whole program. Like, people are coming in for windshields and they're gonna ask if they want tint, or the customer is already gonna ask, right? So they're gonna try and keep you busy and they want to make some extra money, but they're not changing their whole program really for you. But they would keep me busy a couple days a week. So like the easiest, if like I know how to tint and I'm trying to make it on my own, reach out to existing shops and work out some type of program with them. It's the fastest way to just try and keep yourself busy. But then the nice thing about doing it that way is like you give them a couple days a week, and then you can spend the rest of the week doing other stuff. So like you can still have your own business that you're trying to grow. It's just like, you know, you're gonna answer phone calls while you're still tinting for another one, and that's how I got this place started. I just bought a Workhorse 2 to help starting my tinting journey. What are some good plotter softwares I can pair it with? Film Cut's decent. I don't want to say I called it, but I definitely called it. Because to me, 150 was a steal, but, you know, not everybody sees it that way. For plotter software, they think that's expensive. Core for window tint has gone up to, what, $275 from 150? And it's probably harder to sign up for right now anyways. They did it. They gained market share. They grew a name for themselves, and now they're charging for it. 'Tis the way of every software and every brand. Oh, do I gotta tape this one too? Ugh. All right, I'll put this over here. Did I tape this one? Oh, I did. Okay. All right, I'm not completely stupid. Sometimes I am. What do we need? We need a blade. Do you think shop would take an 18-year-old senior who knows how to tint a bit? Yeah, sure. Now, window tint shops are like all over the place. So what I would say is seem helpful and ambitious and just ask to talk to the person in charge. When I was filling out like job applications before I was a window tinter, it's like one of the best things my dad said was like, just hand it directly, like take your application, hand it directly to a store manager and see if you can talk to the person that's in charge of hiring. Because they're gonna put that paper on a stack of other papers and then they have to sift through it and call people in and whatever. But if you're just there, then you'd be surprised how quickly you can just make something work out. He was very right. Yeah, the vast majority of window tint shops are all like privately owned by people, and they're busy. They got other stuff to do. The level of how well run they are varies wildly, and everybody's trying to figure it out in their own way. So yeah, start going in, talking to people. We're just looking to solve problems. So if they got some work to do and you're there and you seem halfway competent, there you go. Shouldn't be bad. But if you want to try and build your own business and brand, you want to stay away from shops. Yeah, you're not really going to be able to build your own brand in that way because the customers that are coming in, like if you're mobile and they're coming into a glass shop, it's like you're not necessarily going to be able to advertise your own business independently. Like you could try and work something out with the owner, like, oh, we have blah 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 tints come out and do all our work. You can try that, and some, like if they own more stores, they might be less cool with that. They might not be cool with it at all. It just depends on the owner. Some people don't care. But customers are really just like coming to that business. They trust that business already. So like if you ever split up with them, you might be able to like retain some people. So it wouldn't hurt if you could, but largely no, you're not. So if you're trying to grow it on your own, I mean, there's good times to do it and there's harder times to do it. Right now with it being January and inflation has really sunk in, I could say it's just going to be a little bit more of a grind right now. It's more competition, harder to stand out. And more sophisticated businesses that are paying more money in advertising and dollars and stuff. So it's just like, as business grows and evolves, it just gets harder. But window tint as a service is still growing, so there's always more business. It's just if, there's some things that would help, like if interest rates were down, people would buy more vehicles, more cars would need to be tinted, that type of stuff. When that kind of stuff slows down, there's just not as much work. Okay, good. Still connected. Yay. Respect for cutting through the glass. Through the glasses. Are we saying wet shrink on a windshield? No. No, I don't ever wet shrink. I just don't see the point. It's just a completely different way of shrinking that I think is harder. It's nice because you don't have to wait for it to dry, but it's definitely more challenging to try and teach because it's just different. That's all. It doesn't really save you any time. It doesn't really like make a huge difference, other than it's just gonna be not the way that I do it. It's not a good trade-off though. It's not like I should learn this method and this method for that. Like pick one and stick to it. I don't care which one you do, but pick one and stick to it. Do you take in removals? Yeah, we just don't hardly get any. We also charge a lot for them too. Yeah, they aren't really worth it. They make everything harder. If you're retinting the car, then you often have to spend way more time because retinting glasses has already been tinted. It's just you always get extra pieces of glue that can be in there. Sometimes you get lucky. But yeah, we put a price on them just because like I have people that they've seen the channel, they got a car, they're excited, they want to get it tinted, and they're not looking to go anywhere else. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm not going to send you away if you want to pay a fee for it. So we've done some cool ones for sure. Would you recommend Goo Gone? No, get Tint Strip or ATR for window film. It's been a long time since I've tried Gugon, so I don't really remember if it worked at all, but I don't remember any single local adhesive remover that you could buy outside of LA's Totally Awesome. You can find that, I think, now at Home Depot. That was the only one that was actually pretty good that would work. Some strong stuff, but you need that for tint adhesive. What's a reasonable price to tint a windshield and 2 front side windows for a Ford truck with ceramic tint? Prices are going to range wildly depending on who you go to. There isn't really any standardized pricing. There's just what this shop will charge versus the next shop. We'll be $250 on a ceramic windshield, and we'll be $200 on the front doors. I feel like that's reasonable. There's some shops that'll charge $500 for a windshield. There's some that'll charge like $80 for a windshield. So it's just like, it's just all over the place. Being in an airplane watching Matt in a car, what a treat. Oh, nice. Where are you going? We were just in an airplane for way too long. We're still adjusting. Yeah, internet on planes have gotten so much more consistent and better. Aruba. Oh, that sounds nice. Have fun. Damn, it's like 28 outside right now and icy. There's not even like snow. It's just like gray and cold here. What big film brands deal to mobile tinters that you know of? GeoShield for sure. GeoShield doesn't care if you're mobile or not. Lumar, I don't think cares. Suntech, I don't think they would care. Solar FX, I don't know if they would. Global, you could get them. There's a lot of film brands you can still get that you don't need a designated territory. Solar FX is territory, so probably not them. You should go there when you get a chance. We were just in the Philippines, which probably has, I don't know what the weather difference is. Philippines is very hot. And we went to some really, really nice places. Is mobile tinting a good side hustle? Not really. I mean, it can make good money. It's just not as quick and easy as like, oh yeah, he just cleans the window and slaps the film on and makes $300-400 and whatever on a car. The skill, there's so many things in the way of doing it mobile. That's what makes it really, really tough. Because like the wind, your environment, some respect, and then especially when you're trying to learn, like bad lighting makes it hard to see. Most garages, like most people don't even have a garage for you to tint in, so it's not necessarily like practical. So like it'd be much easier to be able to, like, if you're a mobile, like run a mobile detailing thing, it'd be much easier to do that than it ever would to be a mobile window tinter. Hot and dry. Oh, Philippines is hot and very humid. Dry sounds nice. The nicest beach on earth. Yep, I've definitely heard of it. I have not been there. That sounds great, though. Especially this time of year. Have fun. I tried shrinking with Tint X. It was okay, but during installation, front windshield was very tacky. Couldn't slide it into place. Yeah, sounds like a soap thing. Because they probably use acrylic adhesives. So with installations, with your film sticking, it's usually the answer is like just add more soap. And you can always like add too much and have it be extra slidey and get it into place and just kind of like wait for it to tack up versus not adding enough. Your soap bottle could probably be half soap and you'd still be fine. So I would start there. The other thing can be the glass itself, but if you're doing a windshield, you're not going to torch the inside of the glass. So it's honestly your really only option. Long time, I know. We're out of the country. It's been slow here on tint appointments, and we are having fun adjusting. But yeah, we were back in the Philippines all through November. Got back a couple weeks into December. Where is your address? The shop is Detroit Tint Studio in Sterling Heights. There we go. Scooch that on over. Can you only install film one direction because it'll only shrink one way? No. You can install it any orientation that you want, but window film will only shrink in the direction that the core is going. So out the bottom of the roll and out the top of the roll. So for example, if I don't have, or let's just be a little simple. If I take the same 24-inch roll or a 36-inch roll, and I usually go this way, I'm going to shrink out the top and the bottom. But if I flip it, well, now the top and the bottom on the roll are out the sides, so I have to shrink on the sides. But I can still install it any which way. It's just shrinking. When you started tinting, do you have all types of films or just one? Just one. But I started a long time ago at this point. So carbon films weren't really a thing. There's really just like dyed, metallized, and ceramic. And good, better, best, like I don't have a sales background at all. And a lot of shops that I have worked for don't either. So they just like, they'll just talk to the customers and the customers will pretty much dictate the conversation and what they want to pay. So for the longest time, I worked at places that was all just like one film. One film, I just want tint. That was the challenge. It's just like getting getting lots of jobs. But when you see actual skilled people, and the whole industry has grown, and now you have a lot of people making videos, sharing information, so it's not common knowledge, but it's a lot more known that there are options. But many, many, many people have no idea if those differences really matter. Or like what they even are. Window tint is it's either the same, or ceramic is some sort of like spooky space age technology that sounds amazing. But they don't really know much about it. So you can absolutely just have one decent film and just do tint jobs. But when you start making money doing it, I would immediately start dumping some of that money into a little bit of impulse inventory. So 20% in ceramic would be nice, because you're spending the same amount of time, so you might as well have a product that you can make some more money on. Oh, I forgot. We gotta do a windshield strip. So that means we're gonna do a strip, and then we're gonna do a full windshield as well. So I'm gonna cut out the strip first so I have it ready. I'm not paying somebody to do it, but next time I'm gonna try with a heat gun. You probably should tint with a heat gun. How would you tint a window with rain guards? Look up some videos, honestly. If they're the in channel that go down the front, like the weather text, remove them, because those are easy enough to remove. If they're just stick-ons, you just have to work around them. But there's videos on it. They aren't super popular here. I just don't run into them hardly anymore. They used to be all over the place, though. Now everything is like weather tech and pulls out easily, or I don't have to worry about ever seeing them. How would you tint tint my windows because of you, then I tried and gave up and returned the tint. But now you have a better understanding of what it's like. It's definitely not for everybody. And there are a great many things that I feel the same way about. I will happily pay somebody to do it, because it is just not for me or worth my time. How come you're not plotting? We do, just not on everything. I'm 100% going to plot the back three. But I can get a better cut with hand cutting. I use Tint X now. Should I change that brand once I start to get more busy? I mean, that's entirely up to you. I never suggest trying to build your business off of something that like use a product that you would trust long term. Film cost is not the biggest issue. There's a lot of guys that just look at the cost of a film roll. Take that price and split it up over the amount of cars that you're going to tint. Film. Film is not the most expensive thing. I bought a dryer cloth, but it has a really strong detergent smell. Is it good for what? I mean, I use Snuggle dryer sheets. I have no idea what you bought. Dryer sheets and whatever you bought are not made for it. They can work really well. It just depends. I effed it up. I tried to tint my window and I effed it up. Effed the whole roll up. I still want to do it. Yeah. Window tint requires sacrifice. That's just how it is, unfortunately. And it's tough to look at it and just like, well, that just all went out in the trash. But that's what it is to tint. If you learn how to shop, you do it on somebody else's dime. If you learn how to do it yourself, you do it on your own dime. Either way, film will be lost. I tried Geo Nano. I wasn't happy with the brown look. Which one? Was it Pro Nano? Was it 35 or was it 5? Pro Nano in the 5 and the 35 definitely has a stronger color that way. That's why we switched over to C2 ceramic. C2 ceramic's gotten better. It's got a more neutral tone. 5 Pro Nano, yeah. See? I called it 35 or 5. Yeah, it's not fun. I don't blame you there. So I'm gonna... I genuinely don't know where this should go. So I'm gonna bring the customer back here so he can look at it first. But we're doing like the whole thing really dark. So we're just doing like 5 over everything. And then 35 on the full windshield. So... have you ever tried the Sharpie method for a strip? Kind of. All right. You want to see the windshield strip before I put it on? Okay. So I mocked this up on the outside. If you want to hop in on the inside, that's usually where it's best to tell. I can make it higher. I can make it lower.
That's perfect right there.
You like that?
Yep.
Okay. That's where we'll put it.
Awesome.
Thank you. That made it easy. Where'd all my numbers? I have a ruler with no... all my numbers have melted away on my ruler. It's not really that helpful anymore, is it? C2 ceramic is good, and so is Apex. I think I gotta go a little higher here. Yeah, if I give Geo a couple bad marks on anything, like I'll give you the full story on Pro Nano too. Pro Nano has been around for like a long time. It's their color stable dyed ceramic. It's honestly one of the reasons that I ended up going with Geo. 20 was great. 35 was like the most annoying to me. because we would do that a lot on windshields. And so like I lived with it for a while, and it's jarring at first, and you kind of get used to it, and some people like it and some people don't. But I don't really like that it definitely skews warmer. And I was always looking to replace at least a 35. But they came out later with C2 ceramic, and it just didn't block as much heat. But C2 ceramic's been out for a few years now at least, and it's gotten much better. And so in their film lineup, you're gonna have Pro Classic, which is just a straight up color stable dyed film. You're gonna have C2 Carbon, and then you're gonna have 2 different single layer ceramic films. So one is Pro Nano and the other is C2. C2 ceramic and Pro Nano ceramic. Like I said, Pro Nano ceramic has been around the longest. And then C2 ceramic now has had some time to evolve and get better. But one more film after that is Apex. And Apex is 2 layers of ceramic. But it's built on the same line as C2 ceramic and C2 carbon. So they share the same type of coloring. Have you heard of premium tech films? No. Why? Why are you asking? Somebody text messaged me yesterday and asked me about that. You're either connected to them or there's something I don't know. Who's premium tech? It's a film line here in Florida. Do you know who makes it? It's just super weird. The glass shop I used to tint for. They just asked me about premium tech yesterday. A super weird coincidence then. Maybe another new company like Scorpion. Yeah, definitely could be. It's usually the case. No, that's a different one. Because I just got like a sample in the mail from somebody called like American Film that I can guarantee you is not American. All right. Is anybody here? Mark, can you hold the light? I gotta jump on this truck. Have you ever used it? No, never. I like literally gotta jump on the truck.
Oh yeah, you gotta.
I gotta cut out this tab. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's do it. Hmm?
I said, dang it, I want to get that thing off of there.
I know. But it is what it is. I need enough room to get around it. Should I splice it up the top? I gotta splice this one. We can't get this off. There's too much. We tried. We tried for like a good 20 minutes. We're gonna break the glass if we keep trying. Or we might not, which keeps us going. Have you tried Avery? Yeah, not a fan. I used Avery for a little while. Definitely would not recommend. Like, and I was pretty happy with their, what's it called? Oh, no. Like, shrinking, look, installation. I've got nothing bad to say about it. It's just the ceramic was very hazy, so we never used it. They, at the time, had... okay, so they were Haneditech, and then Avery bought them. So we were there through that transition, which was not super fun, but it worked. But we were using NR Pro, and then we switched to NR when it came out. I'm seeing people post about NR failing, and NR Pro to me was weird because it was like a dyed carbon film. They're just like, it's manufactured out of Israel, and they're just not there. There's better Korean companies doing carbon films and ceramic films. There's better Indian companies doing better dyed ceramic films and deep ceramic or deep dyed films, and I don't think they got it. Decent for flat glass though, just not for automotive. I think they're more of a flat glass manufacturer than automotive. But yeah, I think there's better options. Splice at the top. I think that's the right call here. I want to go shortest path out, but I think that's that doesn't make sense because you have this big old like Ford thing up top. So it's like, it's gonna mask it a little bit. So you might as well just do that. If it was just a strip, maybe. But yeah, we're doing a full windshield too. So I'm getting this prep for that. I came from 10X for a while when they were Lexan, and everything about GeoShield is the best. Nice. If it's a price game, then absolutely, like 10X or a few other companies are absolutely gonna beat them on price. But you can only go so cheap on films. And I get trying to save money, but there's things that are just worth paying for. Better quality products and just all around everything. But if people pick one or the other, I don't care. Pick what you want to use for your own business. I don't run your business. But what does drive me a little crazy is people that only ever use one and have never used the other. Because it does help to understand where both sides are coming from. I'm going to try out some Geo. With that being said, I was thinking maybe high tech as well. Yeah, you'd be fine with them too, I'm sure. When I was naming off film brands, I honestly forgot. Yeah, high tech's fine. I pretty much know that without looking at the film. I would still suggest always looking at the film, but I have not. I just like, I know Tint Depot, I know the distributor, and so I just know a lot of background on high tech. Have you ever used Pro Max? Like Max Pro? Or is this a different one? I've used so many different products for vinyl and different applications from signage. It blows my mind. People are so stuck to products. Yeah, it's stuck to one product. It's stuck to one process. It's like, be open-minded about what works. Be open-minded about what works. And like the better process, the better film, the better like whatever. Like at the end, that's what matters. So Max Pro. No, well, a little bit. I tried out a couple samples on stream. They were very green. This is like back at the home garage now. I just run a very large community. I haven't heard anything bad said about them in a very long time. But there was a time that nobody would touch them after some really bad experiences. So, it sounds like they've made improvements because people are not afraid to light up a film company when they push a bad film or they have some failures. And we just don't see it. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm gonna start on this. We got the back window to do, so I can let that dry, and then I can cut out the back window at the same time. I work out of my garage. Should I offer more than one film and more than one price point? I think so. I mean, every company does that. Don't let it kill your bank. Like, you could start with one. And you can also take deposits, schedule appointments, and order film. So you don't necessarily have to keep an entire inventory either. It's just when you have the customer there. If you don't have the film there, then you're not necessarily going to get the sale for a better film. Oh, Jesus. Smaller slider, larger. Option 1, option 2. So probably this one. All right, let's go look. Smaller slider. It is a smaller slider. Okay, so I think it's that one. One thing that also helps with this, number of cuts, 2,200 versus 100, 1,000, and then this one has the most in the cutout option. So it's a good bet to try this one. Can you put the VIN in? I don't know. I haven't paid attention to any updates for a minute. No tape. Blade with white tape. Oh, okay. Not ceramic. Ceramic. Okay, so right now we're on condition 1. This should be fine. go for it. Actually, how do I? Nest cutboard. Ooh, they added nesting now. That's cool. So I'm going to break these apart. Let's just start with this one. Let's cut it. Why am I doing a 24? I could do a 36. Yep, this one will tell me how many people cut any particular pattern, which is really helpful when there's a shocking amount of options on something. It's, you know, you could always have that one, but it just helps. Core is really, really good. Oh, can we talk about pricing? Oh my God. I said it. I want to take AI and pull up every time that I talked about Core on stream and just pull up and summarize everything that I said. I can almost say verbatim, this is the summary from the beginning. Eastman owns Core. So Eastman owns Lumar and Suntech. If you use those films, you get a discount on the software, which I think is cool. If you don't, you pay more, but you at least get to use the software. I think that's totally fine. And what I said was they're charging $150 per month. And I said, that seems cheap. I wouldn't be surprised if they start locking it down and raising prices. And sure enough, my blade is not cutting through where I need it to cut through. At least I have my pattern, so I'll do it this way. I'm glad I only did the one then. But yeah, they just raised price at the beginning of the year. I think it's just for new users from 150 to 275. And same thing for PPF. Like PPF is like, I don't know, like $400. So now still an awesome software. It's still available. It's just more expensive. I think it's priced now where it honestly sounds like it should have been near the beginning, but they wouldn't have gotten as many users. Now they got a bunch of users. But $275 for a tool that you use on the majority of cars all month, that's totally worth it. They could charge more for it. I don't want them to, but hey. When will you list the colored handles on your website? And the blue piece. We should probably do that. Colored handles, I just have to buy a bunch. I don't know if I'm going to. So if you can get them from somebody else, just get them from somebody else. I love Fusion. I don't sell every product that they carry. Inventory becomes challenging. Do you know if Core works with Workhorse 2? Yes, on a Windows PC it will. I was able, like, I can install Core on a Mac, and I can use Workhorse on a Mac as well. But I can't. No. I can't. I can't use the Workhorse with the Mac, but I can install both softwares on a Mac. Windows is just more flexible on that kind of stuff. Okay, all good. Just want to support the greatest. I appreciate it. Thank you. So we do have the Blue Beast though. We just got to list it. I'm gonna be really bad at selling them right now. They seem kind of streaky. I wasn't super impressed with it, but there's people that are posting that they like them. So, I mean, I have my opinion. So that's how the store started. It was just only stuff that I liked. Because, like, why would you buy anything else? Getting my windows tinted Friday was the best prep I can do to help the tinner. Just maybe wash your car before you bring it in is really all you can do. Sounds like you're already going to have stuff out of the way. But there isn't going to be really anything you can do to clean your windows ahead of time that he's not going to do already. Glass cleans up really fast. So if you just have like a well-maintained car, then like that's all you can really do, and that'll go a long way for him anyways. But yeah, core should work fine with the workhorse too. I have not tried it. I just need to drag a USB cable all the way over there. I just haven't, because we got that pretty thing over there. So the other one's just collecting some dust. And as you saw with even this pattern, I don't know. Just gotta fine tune some stuff because it should be cutting through and it just wasn't. She fits. A little snug. Don't like that though. Let's do this. Let's place it here. Line that up. And we'll line that up there. Overlap here. There we go. That's better. Should have led with that. Nice. I like it. What do you think about Global? I think Global makes good products, and they're probably fallen behind. Actually, I know they have. That's crazy. Because you can be a manufacturer and you can get absolutely dunked on by somebody that's selling the same product, just better at marketing. That's the story of Global. You're not crying though, because you're still producing a lot of film. But Global was a much better known window film, and now everybody's like Expel. But if you look closer, I don't know, you might see some similarities there. Okay, let's try condition 2 and see if that does anything. Either way, I'm going to get patterns. There we go. Okay. Condition 2, which means it should press a little bit harder. And by golly, I think it did. So it's a setting away from cutting better. So that's good. This one worked out better. Anyways, it cut through all the way in some spots, but it's still okay enough. I'm in the Netherlands. I can only get Global, Lumar, or with a lot of trying Expel. Which one would you advise? Global? Probably. If you think the brand will matter enough to get you more customers, then Expel is going to be your biggest brand. Lumar is still pretty recognizable, but they charge a lot for that too, and I don't necessarily think that's worth it. But I don't know what your area looks like. Global is more lesser brand and awesome product. So you'd be able to save what I think is money that matters and still have a really good film. Both Expel and Lumar are going to charge a brand tax. And it just depends. Like, if you're a shop that's just tinting windows, the best product for the price usually wins. But if you can create a better image and in doing so kind of leverage some brand along with that, then that can make it worth it. But you better believe every one of those Lumar and Expel dealers, they are spending way more on product and not not getting what I would consider is going to matter for the product. It's brand. Didn't Geo have some issues shortly in the beginning? Yeah, Geo's been around since like 2008, 2009. They had a film called Dark Matter. When people when this word came out about nano ceramic films, it was still like, I don't know what that is. They were one of the first ones that we tried, and clarity wasn't great. It's definitely had issues. I had a couple GeoShield front doors peel 3 years after being on a car. Any ideas? They can just happen. If your film is installed in a way where it's constantly brushing up against the seal, it can happen with any film. I had Lumar windows peel. I've had every type of window peel. It just depends on how it's installed and where it's installed along that seal. If it's below it and it's never rubbing against it, it's never going to peel. But when you give it a reason, it's like it might never peel. Or, especially in the wintertime when it's cold, things are way more susceptible to peeling if they're going to. You're usually going to see that in the wintertime versus the summer. Wonder if it over snapped because I peeled it from the middle. Yeah, I had that with Pro Nano 20% or 5%. I had a handful of them. What happened was you would squeegee out the whole thing, and then it would start to curl back a little along the bottom. But yeah, I had a few cases. It was more the style of shrinking for that along with it was Pro Nano 20. Hey, there you go. It's like I install this stuff regularly. Yeah, I had it with it too. Snapping. Yep, snap shrink. From what I could tell, you would think that it's locked down, and then it would start to lift enough in the area where you snapped it. I don't know if it was with 3 years ago. It could have just been something quirky with that run of film. Because that's about, I don't know if mine was 3 years ago, but it hasn't happened this past year. But yeah, it definitely, it was fine for a while, and then it peeled. No TikTok stream. My TikTok machine is apparently broken. The battery on it is just no working. So we'll have to figure that one out. It takes very little for snap shrinking. Yeah, snap shrinking's quick. Oh yeah, film. Let's get that. All right, so we got windshield strip. Where you've been? I was out of the country. And then holiday stuff. Also, my shop's been very slow. I think we gotta spend some money on some Google ads. struggling with tinting, struggling with door windows, cutting the edges and pressure points. Like you're getting little pinch points. Film's really fragile. It's hard to tell you exactly what to do for cutting because we have a lot of video examples that try and show it as best we can. But film can roll, but it can't crunch. So you always want to try to make sure it rolls into any spot and you're not just like pushing it into a corner. All your cuts can stop short of like corners and edges and stuff. Have you seen any Avery NR failures when you used to use it? I'm starting to see terrible ones in less than 5 years. I didn't when I used it, but we weren't using NR. Like we used it when it first came out, and then switched from NR after probably like a year or so. And I was like mobile from company to company and then started my own thing, so I'm not sticking around for any Avery NR issues, but I have seen some people that were using it for like 2 or 3 years that were posting about issues, which is not great because I like NR. I didn't like the rest of them, but it's really upsetting to see like a company that you think is pretty decent, especially when they have a manufacturing facility. And then it just doesn't last more than 2 or 3 years without changing colors. It's like, I wish there was a good way to test for that. Other than putting it on customer cars and waiting. What do you think about Travis Hunt? Who's that? I couldn't even tell you who that is. Can you make a video wet shrinking the back? No. I have a TikTok about it. There's no reason to wet shrink a back window. It's just not a way that I do it. There's videos that people have posted of them doing it. I'm not the best person to show doing it. Because I don't really do it. But it's an alternative to dry shrinking, but I don't think it's any better. It's just different. I think dry shrinking is going to be the easier method to learn. Matt's tired of tint questions. No, it's fine. That's the point of this. I have no idea who that is, though. How do you do front quarter windows on a RAV4? Get some window spline. She's waiting on them. I don't watch football either. But yeah, on the RAV4, you can get something called window spline. I bought some from a Home Depot, and I bought the thinnest one I could find. I would honestly buy one that's a little thinner. But window spline is just like thin rubber, like almost like a string, basically. And it's used to install screen windows. It's used to wedge in between like the channel so it holds the screen in place. So it's like it's flexible and you can wedge it into tight spaces. And so you can take some of that, wedge it into that window just out of the way, and it'll open up the window and make it so easy to tuck in the film, and then it'll hold the dirt from washing back in. It was really nice. Before I left, one of my last cars was was it a Civic? It was some Honda. No, I think it was a Subaru. I think it was a WRX. So I had like front quarters and rear quarters. How long did it take you to get the hang of window tinting? Can you take me back on the first time tinting? I don't understand that part. I feel like I was a slow learner. And this was like, I just had an advantage for learning. I wasn't looking to get into window tinting though. It was just a job. But I felt more competent after the first year. I don't remember it super well, like when things started to click more, but you always have those cars situation, those days where it's just like, I hate this. So frustrating. Ignored my comment. You suck. Yes, that's right. Because I actually go out of my way to ignore people. What was your comment? Concerned about heat shrinking the tint. What do you want to know about it? There wasn't a question there. But that's okay. For some reason, I love the way my car smells after being tinted. What soap do you use? I feel like my car runs better after I get a car wash. It's the tint shop smell. Is it like a Home Depot? I was so confused about that at first. They were like, Home Depot smells so good. What about it? Oh, the wood? Oh, okay. I haven't been around auto shops all my life. I have no idea. Do we smell? If anything, I figured it'd be bad, or of baby shampoo, or dryer sheets, sweat. Is there more money in PPF or window tint? Okay. I think this is a loaded topic because there's some angles. PPF is a expensive service. So you're not just gonna be a tint job doing regular tint jobs and then really killing it on PPF. I saw firsthand a shop doing awesome. I don't think they charged a ton for it, but they were doing a lot of cars. But they were a high-end detail shop. And they were like always busy. And the owner of that came from the owner of another. He used to work at another high-end detail shop, so he saw how the whole program ran, and then he opened his own. But it was high-end detailing. And those people, after they pay for an expensive detail, some of them obviously want to PPF their car. Or when they get a new car, they want to PPF it. And that's when I realized, like, PPF isn't necessarily just like a film game. So you can absolutely do a high-end window tint, PPF, and vinyl shop and just be a film shop. And do really well. But I think the majority of people doing well doing PPF are creating just a bigger image. Or they're in a nice, or like a area with more money. There's potential for more money in PPF, but it's much harder to get that sale and get that money unless you just have a really well-oiled business in the right spot, doing the right things. So it's like your marketing's good, your image is good, you're in a good area, things are clicking, you have good installers. And you're starting, you see that a lot more now than years ago. Seeing a shop like this used to be, like mine used to be unheard of. But now they're becoming the norm. Shops used to just be garages. Especially exclusive luxury cars, that's money. Yeah, you just gotta service a different type of client. And I think the people, like, you either have one more educated person that is like, loves his car, does research, or you have, I think, what is the better business, and you're just getting the people that are spending $150,000 to $500,000 on a car, and they're just doing everything. Like, they don't care about the fine details of window tinting. They just want to bring it, get it all done. Ah, shit. Hang on. 2 seconds. I clicked the power button. Are we good? Give it. Give it a second. Maybe it'll connect. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Attempting to there we go. How do I get rid of an iPhone power button? It's alright, the buffer will catch up. You guys will be fine. I tried to adjust it and I hit the power button. The screen goes black, camera shuts off. I panic. But yeah, those types of businesses too, you're just getting people with money that, like, they've got other things. Here's my car, I want to do everything, here you go. So it's like you don't even necessarily need, like, you just need the right business at the right time in the right place sometimes. You know, like in the olden days, the Pimp My Ride guys and stuff like that. It's like, or the Orange County choppers. It's like, it's right place, right time, little bit of luck, opportunity hits. And so now you have so much more proven success and other people that see that and want to try and do the same thing. And whenever a industry kind of gets mapped out, it becomes harder and harder to replicate being that successful. It's like, if you're there early enough, ran a good business in the right area, it's It's very hard to, I think it's really hard to replicate that. I think you can do decent, but if you want to be like astronomical, I think it's really tough to do. But possible. My boss sent me to a tinting course and it was rubbish. Oh, that's unfortunate. Did you tint anything before he sent you to the class? Or did he just send you to the class and said you're going to learn how to tint and be a tinter? I know for sure there's poorly run classes. But the people that come to ours, we always recommend, like, hey, get some film, get some tools, practice some before you take the class. You're so much better prepared to take a class. But I know that can equally go with instructors. Just not like, I can be tinting for 15 years or 30 and just be absolute shit at tinting because I don't know how to explain anything on a basic level. I just know to, like, you start taking so many things for granted at some point. Like, my first class that I taught here, like, and that whole year, was very much like, I learned how to teach better. And that was after talking to you guys on YouTube for years. It's like, you can't just show people how to do the same thing that you do. You have to be able to take something like this and break it down, which, like, is still a little crazy to me because I don't like block out any steps. Like, you guys see everything. It's just, but when you see how other people see it, then you're like, oh. So it makes it really hard. Really hard to, like, do products and services and stuff because you have to think so much more than the consumer, but then you stop thinking like the consumer because of what you know. Like what we're doing with our software right now. It's like we're trying to simplify everything as much as possible to make it easier to get started, easier to understand, do more for you, and it's incredibly complicated to make something very complicated and make it simple. That's where all the money goes. How did I do this? Anytime I did anything wrong, he always corrected it himself, and I didn't learn anything. Yeah, that's a problem. I'll try and set things up where, like, it can be really difficult to like, you can show how to fix something, but then you can back up and walk somebody through what you just did, because it's a bit of both. It's like you need to kind of see what they did in that situation, but then not be, like, left to start over from square one again. It's tough, though. It's really annoying because, like, you're trying to explain subtleties and nuances with tinting. So we're doing 35 on the windshield. We did 5 on the front doors and 5 over the factory on the rear. What tint do you use? We're using GeoShield. This is the C2 carbon. is ceramic tint really better? It blocks more heat. If you don't want to feel heat in your car, ceramic will help with that. Is that your favorite to install? It doesn't matter to me. I could install any one of them. I mean, ceramic makes the most money, so that's always like the better for business. But they're all gonna be so similar to install that it's not like a big deal one way or another. One hurts a little less if you screw up though. Ceramic's the most expensive to screw up, so when we start wrecking some doors or a full windshield, it's, I wouldn't say fun. All right, Mark, you want to hold the light one more time? I see shops aren't doing DIY tint no more, or they're leaning towards carbon and ceramic. What's DIY tint? I don't think any actual shop is going to AutoZone and buying tint. I don't think that ever was the case. Oh, regular tint. No, they definitely still do. All right. Thank you. All right, let's cut this straight. There we go. Seamed. And now we can install it. Yeah, sorry, I didn't DIY tint. I've never heard anybody call dye tint DIY tint. Or maybe it probably corrected. That makes more sense. We got there. It's been fun. No, I think people talk about carbon and ceramic the most, and like I couldn't spell it anyways. That's funny. There's so much noise around window film, and it's just not important enough for people to really learn or care about. But like between marketing and noisy information and whatever, it's like window films are very simple. You have varying qualities of different types of film, but you have a dyed film, you have a carbon film, and you have a ceramic. All of them can be great. But I don't know, tint snobs, or it's like dyed films are the least expensive way of making a film, but it can still be a good film. But people just paint this picture of like, oh, if it's not carbon or not ceramic, it's shit. And it's like, no, it's fine. A good amount of people care more about the way their car looks, not about blocking heat. And you can do that with any of those films. But it makes more money if you just say ceramic is the best and dyed films are shit. So like they're gonna say things that make it sound better than it is. But yeah, there's also nothing special to say about dyed films other than they make your car look good. And our only magic trick really is, hey, this will block some heat. We don't really have anything else we can say. So there's that too. Do you tint headlights? No. No, it's more of a vinyl skill. I just suck at it. Actually, that's not fair. I just don't really try. Also, a lot of tinters are really quick to say, like they'll post a picture of like a bubbled tint, and then everybody's immediate response is like low effort, like shitty dyed film, and it's like, you don't know, you don't know what type of film it was. It just failed. Cheap film, bad film, whatever. Dyed film, if it turned purple, sure. But they got a dog on something. Need expensive tool for the mirror removal. Dude, I have like a custom $80 thing another guy made and some other stuff that we tried. It was just not coming off. But yeah, there's like a $400 Vice thing that I just never bought. I was hoping there'd be another solution. I'm not even sure if that one would. It's like any Ford mirror removal tool. It's like, yeah, they'll remove it one way or another. Sometimes with the windshield broken, sometimes with it not broke. So we yanked on it for a good 20 minutes before we decided to call it. It's annoying. I wish it was off. It'd make this much easier. But not gonna risk that. One time I took my seatbelt. Oh yeah, your seatbelt can for sure whip. I'll be honest, I'm more surprised that people don't notice their seatbelts clanking against the glass. Or like rings or keys. I had this one guy that had his driver's door all chipped up. It was on a Mercedes. And I was like, he was holding his keys at the desk and he had like rings and like big keys. I'm like, it was that. And he was like, it was what? It was like your rings or your keys. And he's like, there's no way. No way. And he swore up and down. It wasn't him. It wasn't him. It wasn't him. I'm like, it absolutely was. I didn't fight with him. I was like, we'll definitely, like, I got some time. I'll redo it for you. Just keep an eye out for that in the future. And he was probably kind of annoyed when he left. And he ended up coming back when I was at that shop. And he was like, so you were right. And I was like, thank you for actually admitting that. But yeah, if you have a little chip in your driver's door, it's like that's where you sit. That's where stuff happens. There's never a hole that just like pops up in the tint. It's always something chipping it. But yeah, it was funny to see you actually came around. I was mobile too, so I wasn't even at that shop very often. I haven't had to install a windshield like this in a hot minute. Is mobile harder because you're outside in the elements flying around? Yep. Yeah, it's you gotta bring all your stuff with you. You gotta find a place to tint it. You gotta take all your stuff out of your vehicle. You gotta handle the customer 100%. And then you gotta deal with whatever the weather does. Or with a cramped garage that usually doesn't have enough place for you to open all the doors, depending on who you like. Because a lot of people, the way they look at mobile is the same way they look at saving money. It's like they're doing mobile because it's the least expensive route into tinting. And they're treating it the same way. And then they're running into customers that are very similar to like how they are. It's like you're running into people that really don't have, like you have like an average income. And it's like most people don't have a house with a garage. Go canvas like rich neighborhoods or something. And if you're doing that, sell them flat glass instead. But yeah, when I was mobile, I was mainly mobile to go from one shop to another, and so we had a handful of accounts that were set up. So we had like these shops are our accounts. They're actively working on bringing in cars for us, so we don't have to worry about marketing. We just have to show up, and if they're a good account, they sold work. If they were a bad account, then we wouldn't have work there, and we would cut them loose because they're not worth the time to show up. And I really like that overall. I still like mobile is a drag no matter what because you're always running around with stuff and living out of your car. It's only so fun. But it makes good money. If it's done right, it makes good money. But I can't tell you how many appointments just like, don't show up because, yeah, they're not going to take a deposit and they're not going to pay you for your time for just waiting around. So you like go to do an appointment and it's just not there. And that's like, oh, I could have booked this. I could have booked that. Like, yeah, there's other stuff that you could have done, but you're screwed now. I hate you, mirror cutout. Why are you so dumb? See how much easier this is without a mirror cutout, because then you just go across. So if you can cut around the entire like mirror housing, you still got to work around the mirror, but this part we got a big old. I'm not trying to like fold the tint in here. Oh shit. Come on. There we go. We got one. Now we can scooch it over. Mobile's tough. If you know how to tint, mobile's not bad. If you're learning how to tint, mobile's really difficult because you have both. Like if I don't have a decent space to tint in, then my skill has to make up for that. But when you don't have a skill developed, it's hard to then do both. What is that? Good. Yeah, it's weird with the seam. Like, honestly, the seam isn't the biggest thing. It's just everything in the way here to get it, like, folded in two, and then you can butt the seams up together. Oh, okay. I think it was a little low, but I think we're pretty good now. You just gotta fan everything out. Will the tint pass inspection in Detroit? Yeah, because we don't have inspections. What's an inspection? I'm honestly surprised they have never implemented anything, and I wouldn't be surprised if they ever do. It's like, hey, we need to generate some more money for the state. But they also just have registrations. So we pay for like yearly registrations, just like anybody else. But we don't have to pay for an inspection. So I guess if they want to make a couple $100 per person, they could easily start an inspection program. And God, that would be shit. Maybe it has something to do with the big three. I don't know. The Motor City, they never cared. Restrictions only got in the way. What are some tips if I want to get into tinting? Get some film, get some tools, and just get a safe space to practice. And don't be shy about wasting film. It is an annoyingly nuanced skill to learn. That's what makes it tough. It's like I could write out a list of steps for everybody to take, which I think Mark did. I think we have that list. He does, and it's laminated. But the thing is like, even if you know all the steps, you can fuck them up 100 different ways. Because there's so many little nuanced things about those steps. Where a Lego set is connect this piece, connect that piece, then this, then that. And it's like, there's no way to teach tint like that. I want to make it a good career, but I feel like you have to live in a good area and have a good name. Yeah, that's what it's. Those are going to be the best jobs. Market's kind of filling out. I mean, there's a lot of people. Like I talk in very general terms. I have no idea. I've seen very successful people out of like very rural areas that have been like part of our community, that have just like had good connections, or there was just that demand there. But you're right, like in all your major areas where that stuff fills out. But that just means that you have to be more creative about your business. It's not just I learn the skill and I make money. It's still a cool business while everything else is getting absolutely turned on its head from AI. And I think it's a skill that's going to be around for a long time. But right now, with current market conditions, I think it's going to be very tough. But no business is just straightforward, especially right now. So good luck with anything. I think trade skills will continue to pick up just in general, but I think trying to make good money from those trade skills is definitely the challenge. It's hard, especially if you have 100 other 5-star shops in your city. Yep, absolutely. It's like one of the most frustrating things with tint is like I don't To be honest, I know less about my customer with tint. I don't know. It's like anybody with a car could be a tint customer. So it's like your potential client base is massive, but the amount of people that actually get it is a lot smaller, but it's still like going to be your biggest automotive accessory. It's still the most searched. It's just now that there's more people and more competition and whatever, it's like you just got to figure out a way to stand out. And honestly, yeah, it's gone from just like being fairly competent to then it being a lot harder. But there's so many poorly run places still that, like, I mean, how many restaurants are there? How many I didn't even really notice this until I started looking around because I was in the market for one. How many dentist places are there? Like every one of those businesses have like absolutely been like they're so filled out. Dude, I can't even believe how many dentist places I drove past and not realized it until I was looking for a dentist. Fucking brutal. There was like 2 or 3 down like every block. There's just no business that is just like straightforward. So like you go to school, you're like, I'm going to be a dentist. I'm going to make millions. It's like, no, you go to dentist school and you feel great and then you get absolutely wrecked. Shit's a lot harder now just because like you're competing on, like, for small local business, you're still competing locally, but you still gotta have a bunch more skills now. Marketing and advertising, and so many other ways that you can like optimize your business. How often do you shrink windows on trucks that size? Like every single one that I tint. You don't necessarily need to, but it only takes me a few seconds and it does a lot more good than not, so I do it on everything. I'm putting a strip in here too, by the way. So strip is already cut out, ready to go. It's better to get that prepped ahead of time. And so this will go just right in here. But dudes, all this AI stuff right now, we're using it firsthand. Oh my God. My channel's not gonna have a job in a year or 2. Probably like 2 or 3. I think talking head videos are gonna get replaced like within 2 years. Just like completely. I should have moved this mirror like this. Let's do that first. And pull that the other way. No, don't do that. There we go. Is that your chat thing? Oh. It sounds like it. It sounds like good old times. It's like tinting a car and then getting your butt kicked, and then you have a lot of good success, and then you come back to one similar, and then it kicks your butt again, and you're like, oh shit. We're getting there. 35 on the windshield. And then we're doing a strip on top of it. I gotta get this right here in the middle. And make sure everything else lines up. I think that's correct. So we're about that high up. We're about that high up. Okay, that's pretty good. How often should you snap the blades? Every couple cuts. So your blade is stainless. It dulls very quickly, like the sharpness of it does. So you usually go through like a blade per car. Does this go above the AS1 line? It goes anywhere where you want to put it. State laws. Some states say AS1 line. Some states have nothing to do with the AS1 line. Michigan being one of them. We don't care. Michigan measures 4 inches, and anything past that is get a doctor's note. I like to strip a little lower past the AS1. Yeah, typically. It depends on the shield, though. Some of them line up perfectly with it. Some of them a little bit below. Some of them a little bit higher. AS1 lines are all over the place. But I'd say in general, you right. They usually go a little bit below because of how high some of them are. I've seen some that are like up here. So they have nothing to do with like a measurement in between here and here. I have a Chevy Impala, so it looks good. You have a Chevy Impala, so it's probably blacked out. I tinted so many Impalas. So, like, everybody was doing, like, limo Impala. Dark windshields. I love tinting Impalas, though. 10 out of 10. Impalas are great. I was lucky and able to get a doctor's note. Hell yeah. For a legitimate reason? But it's good. Like, that's why they're there. Like, that's the whole purpose, is, like, they didn't actually take the time to put it into a law or a rule unless they actually were like, oh, yeah, you know, like, people, if they legitimately need it, then they can get a medical prescription. This is one of those things where there's a lot more people that want it that don't necessarily need it. There's absolutely people that need it, though. I got a Ford Explorer with double 5 all around. And 15 on the front windshield. Yeah, you do. The back window is too small for me. I have to put my headrest down. It's 15 too dark. Well, if you have double 5, may I interest you in some 2%? Oh, okay. So I got a good tint story. So we were in the Philippines. We rented a vehicle, and also my sister-in-law has a Everest, which is almost like, it's similar to an Explorer, but it's not an Explorer. Same type of vehicle, though. They tint everything over there like super dark. You not necessarily like, you can get lighter tint. It's just they asked, like, do you want light, dark, or medium? They didn't even ask, like, out of the dealership, they asked, do you want us to tint it? Do you want light, dark, or medium? And I think she said medium. They did, no joke, 20 on the windshield and 5 on all the sides. There's no privacy glass on it. So it's just like straight 5 and 20. And this film, you cannot, you have such a hard time seeing out at night. And if you're driving in the Philippines, shit's scary. You have 1-lane roads in both directions, and you have people that walk along the side of the road all the time. There's little shops, there's kids, there's everything is and you just can't see. But it's not illegal. It's just how it is. That's how my car is. I don't really drive at night. Well, if you don't use it at night, that's one thing. We didn't drive it super far. Oh no, that's not true. So we rented a Fortuner, which is a Toyota. That also, they had like 20% on the windshield. Dude, late at night, I couldn't see shit out of it. Part of it for sure was the film, like 100%. That it was kind of hazy during the day. But it was just funny to see how dark it just was. I've watched the traveling tinter. I don't know how he 2 stages without shrinking the window. Is it trucks or is it everything? Because on a truck, I'd say like Silverados would probably be like Silverados would probably be fine still. F150s would probably be fine. Or would definitely be fine. Rams? I feel like you have to shrink a Ram. So I'd be surprised if it was a Ram. But this goes back to like some of the other stuff we were talking about. If you're new, just plan on shrinking everything. And it's not a big deal to have to shrink everything. I still shrink absolutely everything, basically everything, a little bit. It's just not a waste of time. What you're doing is you're just protecting yourself from a finger popping up, and then that pattern is all of a sudden like sucking in some dirt, and you're spending 10, 15 minutes to try and fix something that could have been resolved in 30 seconds before you started your install. So I wish people would look at shrinking that way, not like, do I have to shrink this one or do I have to? It's just 100%, is this worth my time? So when you weigh both sides of them, I think it's absolutely worth it. But if you take the time to figure out what ones are easy, what ones you need to, what times you don't, like, then yeah, absolutely. But when you don't know, what's gonna happen is you're gonna run into those issues. So it's really like, as you kind of like start with shrinking them and then play around with not shrinking them and then just like see what happens. I've been practicing on a Toyota Camera, and if I don't shrink fingers for days. What? You do? So wait, what? You don't have to shrink fingers on that, or you do? And like, it's totally cool. If you tint windows and you don't have to shrink them, dude, I do not care. If I taught not shrinking, it's like, Well, in this case you do, in this case you don't. Sometimes it's like it's so much like somebody sees this, somebody sees that. I think it's more important to, like, if you're teaching people, to have like a consistent method that covers as many things as you can. And then as you build up experience, then you get into the really nuanced stuff of like, no, in this case, it's fine. You don't have to. And then you kind of understand more why. But you need a bit of both. You need experience and you need to understand why. I don't shrink. I always get fingers on my 2011. Yeah, that sounds right. That's what I would have. That's what I would have guessed, unless you're like some. I don't know. I'm sure there's some crazy tinters that don't have to shrink anything and they're magical and whatever, but I'm not one of them, and most people aren't. All right, so now we're gonna pull the rope. Woo, nice. And then the towel. And I'll do both. If I have room for both, I do both. A towel and a rope. Both go a long way to work together. If you don't have much space, just use a towel.
Did you do the check-in?
No.
You want me to do it for you?
Yeah.
What shades did you do?
I did, everything's in carbon, 35 on the windshield. 5 on everything else.
So what's this gonna be? 610?
I think it quoted him. I don't know. I would look at the messages and just see. Let me. Okay. Make sure. If not, it's okay. But it should have. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there were quite a few. I like my Insta form, though. It's pretty fun. And it doesn't mention anything about a visor.
Not in the quote. Yeah, it just says the full vehicle with windshield. Would you like to skip a little?
I just throw it in then, and then I'll work on adjusting the prompt.
I saw it in there somewhere.
I know he asked. Like, I know it was typed. That's why.
Full windshield and brow. Yeah, he thought you did check-in.
Yeah. I can almost. I don't know if I've ever if brow is in the prompt.
Yeah,
It, the
it is, but I don't think we've ever added it as a service or told it that you can combine it with the windshield.
yeah. Yeah, because it's like the least, that and sunroofs are like the least requested things. So it's cool. Came out from Canton and watches the channel. And I gotta prompt it better.
Alright, it was 35 on the front, whatever that.
Because I look at it and I go, who's gonna ask this? And then I do something else. 5. 5 on, yep, 5 over the factory. Huh?
Front doors are 5 too?
Yes. Yep. Everything's 5, including the visor, except the full windshield, which is 35. Yeah, he went dark. Very dark. It's all buttoned up, and we'll really see that.
I think the calendar starts weeks on Monday on the check-in form.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's super annoying.
This got to be an international thing.
Yeah.
We ran into that over there when we were booking hotels and stuff. Then you look at a calendar and you get confused. Is it special order for GeoShield? Oh, the 2%? 2%'s in the carbon. They don't have it in anything else. It was a new launch from this summer. They had a lot of people asking about it. But the thing is, when you add that much carbon, it becomes less important to go to ceramic, but it would be nice to just like have that as an option. But practically, you just don't. I want to redo my back window, but I'm worried that I'm going to screw up the defrosters. If you take a steamer, everything should be fine. Like, they're just pretty straightforward. Like most removals, it's just as a shop, you should plan for cover your own butt situations. So if you're going into a removal, I mean, it's nice to leave that disclaimer. Like, we're gonna do the absolute best that we can, and we don't anticipate there being an issue, but that doesn't mean there won't be an issue. But it's generally a non-issue. Steamer softens up the glue, tint peels off, nothing happens to the defrosters. But it can still leave a lot of glue behind, and then you just got to go through with like scrub pads and stuff. I have a 1/4-inch dot matrix. Should I tint past it? Yes, absolutely. Otherwise, you're gonna have a really ugly gap. So your choice is like an inconsistent cut with a silvery like with a gap on the inside, or you cover it and then you still have like the silvery line running around it. If you put too much heat, your window might shatter. Kinda. I mean, not really. If you have like, yeah, a windshield being laminated, too much heat in one spot for a long time could crack it. But you gotta be real unsafe with it. Glass is fairly strong. It can take a lot. Will the scrub pads take off the defroster material? No. No, I wish they did. The clay bars will take off a little residue because they're like copper and they'll oxidize a little bit. So your clay bars will clean that oxidation off the lines. Yeah, the Tri-Edge Scrub It pads, those are great. Any non-scratch scrubbing pad is good. Don't use green Scotch-Brite. You'll scratch the hell out of your windows. So you absolutely can use the wrong pads. But a clay bar too is also really good. Have you tried the new cordless torch? No. What cordless torch? I've tried some torches and whatnot, but thank you for the advice. I've been on the fence about retinting my windows for the longest time just because of that reason. I'll post in the group. All right, cool. Torch is a different air tip instead of a flame. Oh, I think I've seen that. Oh, that's cool. If it's the one that I'm thinking of. I haven't tried it, but yeah, it looked a lot better. Lot better. Where's my tape? How's the family? We're good. Doing good. Still a little sleep deprived, but doing good. What drove you to keep tinting when you just started? Money? I was going to aviation mechanics school. I needed to make money while I was going to school. It was easily like the best type of fit for what I was doing at the time, and I didn't hate tinting. And then after I finished aviation mechanics school, I just kept tinting because this was 2009, so you're just seeing a lot of people, like, housing market crash became a thing, and like people are getting laid off of the aviation field, and honestly good timing because I would have continued that. And there's good and bad with it. Money. Yeah, money's the most straightforward answer. Is like, I was at a auto accessory, like my dad's auto accessories company, and I was learning other accessories, and then all of a sudden the window tinter quits, and then it's like, you should become a tinter. It makes more money, and it's like, oh, okay, so a job still at a place I'm familiar with that makes more money. That's a good just career skill to have. Sure, sounds good. I'm on board. But what made it way more fun is diversifying. So doing like videos was a really big thing. There's always all these like technical challenges that I was trying to do, just because like got into live streaming a little bit back then. Video, had fun, wanted to do YouTube stuff. So all that kind of stuff along with it. If it's just tinting, which is what I did for a while, like I did video, and then I went straight into like mobile tinting for a while, and did that for a while, and then wanted to get back into video and doing other stuff because I really, really need the variety. If we're only ever doing just one part of it, it starts to get boring. Nick, good to see you virtually. Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Well, this one's all done. He's waiting up front. I gotta get back home. So, quick walk around here. Turned out nice. Do I have his key in my pocket? I do. Looks good. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off. Bye.